Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Heidi's house. This is your host, Queen Bee Heidi B. And today's featured guest is Joey Genres. I'm so excited to hear more about his house music journey. So, are you ready? Then let's go. Here he is, Joey
Hi.
Genres.
How you doing, Heidi? And thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me.
I'm so good, and I'm really happy and grateful to see you and to have you as our featured guest, Joey. I really appreciate that you are taking time to join into this little podcast that is
Yeah,
exploring house music culture worldwide.
it's my pleasure, and so happy to meet you virtually. Finally.
Yes, finally, and I am looking forward this discussion and opportunity to hear more about your house music journey, Joey. And as you know, this is a snapshot kind of interview, so we take a little peek into your story, and of course, towards the end, people must be more and more interested to know more. So we share where they can find you in social media.
Of
And
course.
for that,
Hmm.
I'm gonna jump straight ahead to our first question, which is
Okay.
always the same question for all of our guests. I would like to know and hear in your own words, who is Joey Jarmus?
Ah. Joey Genres is a lover of music, all kinds of music. House music, it happens to be my favorite. And that's why I started DJing and producing. But I grew up in a household where music was played all the time. My mom was in the choir; she was assistant director, so she was always practicing at home in the piano. I always went to her rehearsals and has been around singing. And my mom and dad would always play R&B and gospel music in the house every day, really every day. And in school, we were required to play instruments. And so I took up the baritone, which is like a small tuba, if you've ever seen that in the brass family, because nobody else wanted to do it, take that heavy instrument home every day. And eventually I got tired of it. And so I picked up the trumpet and played that. And I took piano in college. And so I just been around music and been playing instruments, almost all my life.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
and the one thing that your viewers will not know or realize is that Joey Genres was really born in January 2025, and
Uh-huh.
there's a story of how I got there, and I'm sure it'll be part of your question and answers in the interview.
Yes, and it is always delightful to meet and talk with some people who have background in a musicianship, which is super always giving and fruitful itself already. But when talking about the DJing and music production that we are going to
Mhm.
talk a little bit more, of course, it always have a profound impact also on those forms of art. So you come from a musical family, and music has been clearly a part of your whole life journey
Yes,
so far.
yes, yes, it has. Yep.
All right. So, what got you then into house music?
Well, I grew up in Baltimore,
Mhm.
Maryland, and house music was in the culture of Baltimore. And I'll say this story. I got into the DJing and into house music around the same time. Um, my first experience with a live DJ was in ninth grade, and my school had a welcome back dance the first 2 weeks of school every year. And as a ninth grader, I didn't know what I was doing and where I was going. But that night, they had a welcome back dance in the cafeteria. And it was always, I didn't know at the time, but it was always with a DJ. And so the pace was packed. But for some reason, most of the people were gathered up in the front. And I didn't know why that was. So I made my way to the front,
Mhm.
and got through and I saw the DJ and he was on turntables and he was just amazing. I mean, scratching, blending. I think he did some stuff behind his back. And
Wow.
I'm thinking, I didn't know who he was. So I asked the person next to me, who is that? And they looked at me like I was crazy, like I just came from Mars yesterday.
Yeah.
And they said, that's DJ Spin. And I'm like, that's DJ Spin. And that was my first introduction to DJ and house music. And I just fell in love with it. And so happened that my friend's sister was good friends with DJ Spin. So he ended up DJing most of our parties at the school for 2 years. And so in Baltimore, the house music culture and Basement Boys, Alternate Tay, and their production, it was just everywhere. And so you really couldn't help but not love house music.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
And what a wonderful story you have there from how it all started, and you
right,
were really blessed to see him performing live, and
right.
I can imagine that it was impressive and kind of contagious, the whole love for the art of DJing
Yes, he's
had
amazing.
sparks there. Yes,
Yeah.
wonderful. Um, so you have been doing a very, very, very impressive career already in a DJing, and if I think about the DJing, you mentioned DJ Spin, but what would you say? Uh, who have been the DJs that have inspired you most, and why?
I would say DJ Spin, of course, is the first. Um, I would say DJ Charisma is also
Mhm.
from Baltimore. He's a bad dude, and DJs and produces. And I would say last but not least, our friend Code Blue
Yeah,
is a big influence on me, and he's probably primarily the person most responsible for Joey Genres being here and out in public. um, he's just been a great friend. We grew up together,
yeah,
and in Baltimore. My parents were good friends with his parents, and so we just had a connection, all of our lives.
yeah,
But then, one year we saw each other and say, hey, we need to connect. And I knew what he was doing, and I knew he was DJing everywhere, and was well known in Baltimore. And I was just been DJing and producing like in my basement. And
mhm,
so I wasn't really out there. But I've been doing it for 30 some years
yeah,
under the name DJ Dazzle. So that was my DJ name. I actually, got into DJing early on in life, but Code Blue is primarily the reason why I'm DJing and producing now. He had a belief in me and producing, and I would produce tracks and just give it to him just to check out. And he was like, this is cool, I like it. But then eventually it got to the point where I was giving him stuff when he had to pick up the phone and say, man, your stuff is good and as
mhm,
good as what's out there. And so his influence and encouragement to for me to get out there is a reason why I'm here. And he also encouraged me to he knew I was DJing, but he encouraged me to submit DJs. So he gave me the connection to Andre and BPM Radio,
yeah,
and I was able to do a special guest mix like two or three
wonderful.
times on BPM.
Yes,
And then finally he had so many shows, as you know, radio
yeah,
shows. I think he was didn't have the bandwidth, but there was another opportunity
mhm,
that he sent me for. They were looking for DJs. It's BalaricFM.com. And shout out to Catalyst and the team there. And so he forwarded it to me and said, hey, if you're interested in DJing publicly, why don't you give him a DM? And I
exactly.
did, and sent them some mixes, and they put me on their roster. So I
Yeah,
DJ Balearic FM, every third Saturday. of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern. Shameless plug. Uh,
It's
um,
okay. It's okay.
I
That's
know,
why we're here.
right? But it's all because of Code Blue, giving me the opportunity, the encouragement to say your stuff is good, and and that led me. I've been producing, but then I also got producing and putting stuff out because of him. He and his encouragement.
Yeah, I have to say at this point, yes, huge shout out to Code Blue, of course. Wonderful, wonderful DJ who
Hmm.
is also now pursuing himself a music production. So
Yep.
shout out to him
Yeah.
being a wonderful
Yep.
colleague and a friend and a supportive member of the DJ community for
Absolutely.
that matter.
Absolutely.
Also shout out, of course, to the BPN Radio Brazil and Andre. We
Yes.
love you and
Yep.
congratulations on your show, mix show
Thank
at
you.
Balearic FM.
Thank you.
Wonderful station as well. So
Yeah.
I'm really
I
really
appreciate
happy to hear all about that. How this your DJing journey has been just evolving and growing because you truly deserve it, and your
it. Oh,
sound is
thank you.
wonderful
Thank you,
in
Heidi.
mixes and in music productions. But yes, let's now go a little bit more into the music production.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to modify the question a little bit. But when you produce the music and knowing now that you have that musicianship background and everything, what would be the things that inspire you in a music production?
Well, I grew up producing hip hop
Mhm.
under DJ Dazzle,
Yeah,
and that eventually turned into producing hip hop and house music. But I think the biggest influence is really my hip hop production, and so I really start my songs with drums,
yeah,
and I find drums, and a lot of them are hip hop drums that I use, and then I work on the melody. But and sometimes I'm doing sampling and chopping and everything you would do on a hip hop record. I'm actually
yeah,
doing in my house record.
yeah,
So hip hop upbringing has really influenced my production now, and there's certain elements and samples that I put over top of my productions, and some kind of exclusive songs I put into my radio shows. They show kind of how that is where I'm sampling, and you can kind of see that he's got some hip hop in him.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, and so that's the biggest influence from my production, really.
What about then the artists and producers? Who would you say that you kind of are inspired by in
Oh yeah.
general?
I would have to say, part of my DJ list as well. DJ Spin,
Yeah.
Charisma. You have to say Masters at Work. And
Yes,
Masters at
yes,
Work is
definitely.
really, I kind of fashion my drums on Kenny Dope's,
Hmm.
and his drum production.
Definitely, yes.
I love him. And I'm trying to think some other producers. Dennis Farrar, defected. Um, yeah, I mean that's a pretty good list.
Yes, wonderful. So you already shared quite a bit about your DJing journey and on your music production and also on your new residency at Balearic FM. Um, Here in this podcast, we also want to take a look not only on the house music journey so far, but then also on the future prospects. So, could you share us a little bit about your current projects, what you are working with?
Well, I have song coming out in July.
Mhm.
It's a new single called Sessions. It's
Um,
on Southwest Charm Records. I Right after that comes out, I start working on my next one. And I build literally a vault of songs. I probably have about 10 to 12 songs that I may put out at some point, but most likely I'm creating something new
yeah,
almost every day, or working on something new, and starting to put that out in social media. Me working on new sounds, new singles, and just try to get some feedback on what people think.
yeah,
And so I mean, for now, it's DJing on Balearic FM, and my songs that are coming out. And probably I kind of strive for a monthly release, just so people don't forget about me.
Yeah, you keep them beautiful tracks coming, of course.
Thank you.
So we'll be
Thank you.
eager to listen and play them. I'd love to play them also in
Oh,
my
thank you.
sets, so wonderful.
Absolutely.
So
I'll make sure you get new copies fresh off the press.
wonderful, wonderful. You got my full support.
Oh, thank
Now, I have another thing that came to my mind now ad hoc. I said to you that don't be surprised if I give some sudden questions, but from DJ to DJ, this is always interesting point to explore. And I'm always thinking, especially the newcomer DJs and so on. So, what would be your advice for any newcomer DJing? Where to focus when they try to hone their skills?
Okay. I think first, really hone in on what genre, subgenre you want to play, and get really good at playing that. And beat matching, of course, harmonic mixing will serve you well. Um, and just have a love for the music.
Yeah.
Don't try to get into DJing for fame or fortune. That may come, it may not come. But if you're getting in for the love of music, I think you'll do well. You just practice, keep practicing your craft, and do mixes, record them. Um,
Mm.
and then I will encourage them to get a Mixcloud account or SoundCloud account, and start uploading them. And start reaching out, to other DJs, and hey, check my mix out, and nothing wrong with that. And I'm probably one of the people who would listen, to new mixes. And if you're coming out and getting into DJing, I mean, it's always about being respectful and professional. So once you start doing gigs, we all know you're a DJ, but you're the hired help, right? And that's me too. When I'm getting hired for a gig, I'm the hired help. I've been
Mhm.
hired to please the person who hired me. I'm hired to please the crowd.
Mm.
And so just be appreciative of being there, and seeing it as an opportunity to connect with the person who hired you for future opportunities. Connect with the crowd, because people who are seeing you for the first time, you're giving them an experience,
Yeah.
and as they get that experience, they will tell other people. And all of a sudden you're getting more and more gigs, because it's word of mouth, and it's because they see you as somebody who's approachable, who's respectful and professional. Show up on time, show up early, to your gigs. So the person who hired you is not looking for you. And so that's my pretty much my advice.
Very great advice is what I was taking there, especially for some particular points, kind of like overall concept, really the networking opportunity, networking with the fellow DJs, networking with the event organizers, and
Yeah,
networking with the audience, networking with
yeah,
the people who come to the event is very, very, very super important. And not to forget, of course, that it is an act of service and
right.
act of communication, so to say, communicating with your audience there, and of course, learning and
Yeah,
practicing the basic skills,
right.
investing time, and
And go
that's, I
see,
think,
I think, also add, go see other DJs perform.
yeah, yeah,
And there, unfortunately, there are some DJs that, if they're not DJing, they're not coming,
mm,
and that's not the right approach, in my opinion.
mm,
Like, if you tell me you're having a show and I'm in town, I'm coming. I'm coming to support Heidi. And that's how we build community, and we support each other. It doesn't hurt to like a social media post, or repost
yeah.
one of your DJ's gigs coming up, and we can all do that and support each other, and it's not going to hurt you. It really won't.
It really won't hurt you, and it takes just the 1 second to put
Right.
that like, for instance, and
Correct.
one moment of consideration, and you don't know how big impact it just might make for the, especially for the beginning talents and so forth, who really benefit from that encouragement. Also us more experienced ones too, you know.
Right,
It
absolutely,
doesn't, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
harm.
No, it doesn't
So
harm at all. Mm-mm.
so wonderful points here. Well, you know, Joy, that this is very, very short interview, and we
Mhm.
are getting close to our ending time.
Yeah.
But I am sure now that people really got intrigued to know more about you, Joy. So if they want to follow you on social media and find out more, where can they find you?
Yeah, everywhere, Joey Genres, JoeyGenres. That's every social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me there, and it's easy
All
to
right.
remember.
You
It's easy to
heard
remember.
it. You heard it straight from the man himself, straight from the
Yes,
source. Joy Genres in Facebook, Instagram, everywhere.
yes, that's it.
Also in Mixcloud and SoundCloud, right?
That's absolutely same and
Yeah,
same name. Yep,
same
it's
name.
very. I keep it very easy for you to follow
Oh.
and like and get and come give me some encouragement too. I need it.
Yeah, follow him and please listen to his mixes, tune into Balearic FM, and of course, check his releases. Stay tuned for new ones. There's a new
Yeah.
music coming soon from this wonderful gentleman and wonderful househead, part of our beautiful global community. I thank you, Joy,
No,
so
I
much
thank
for
you.
this
I thank
interview.
you for the opportunity, and I think your viewers will enjoy the interview. I hope.
Definitely. So I'm sending hellos and lots of love and blessings straight from Helsinki, Finland, to you over there
Back
in
at you.
Spain.
Back at you. Thank you.